There, I'm going to try and see if I can make sure I get this in a coherent way. So I had to make a couple notes to myself because things are moving very fast right now with that AI. The cybernetic units, QI, right? Quantitative intelligence, algorithms, number games, and I covered some of it this morning. I had a very powerful awaking dream state last night when just everything just came full circle. Right. So I'm going to move through this fairly fast because I don't want to build a big tree on this. Okay. But I mentioned in my last video, for example, when you're seeking a spiritual pathway and you're on fire to learn, you're going to learn really fast, particularly when you have a crystal atom seed connection, right? The crystal seed atom. Bang! Okay. So when you're experiencing the one, and you are the one, because you're experiencing being the one as an oversoul, as a monopole, we know how to light ourselves on fire, right? So we know how to self-generate whatever we need in order to protect what it is we created. Okay, as an Emerald founder. Okay. And so the reason that this is sort of important now is I release certain things that I know about me that I don't ordinarily release to others because of the sensitivity that we have, which is like really, really, really hypersensitive because of the level of security protocols that have been put in place in order to pull this off. Okay? Because it really is the invisible landscape. It is a war of deception, right? Everything from decoys, sort of like Patty mentioned, they use clones, we use clones, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But even things I've tried to release certain pieces of information to my clan mother, right? Just to sort of give her an idea that, oh gosh, how would I put this? It's actually from not only for my own security, but the security of a lot of other folks. Okay, that are a part of all this. And so it's one of the reasons why I communicate in basically code so that if you can perceive through the library that you're running, you can sort of connect the dots to sort of begin to realize without having to come right out and using a blunt instrument. Okay. You can figure the rest out. Okay. And so essentially what it means when you're cosmic level, I mean full cosmic level, Cosmina, right? That's like access codes because the key codes exist because of the nature of the pathway that you took in spirit in which your accelerated learning was moving so fast. You become a purifier, the purifier of all purifiers, okay, which is to pure everything that has ever suffered a loss of life, trauma to the soul. Okay, and so I had some very powerful full circle stuff that came to me this morning, particularly with the, well, I guess you want to put into this the super soldier stuff, the secret space program, all of that. And then that would obviously include everything that's related on an intergalactic level, if you will, councils, Syrian Council, Arcturus, Lyra, etc. Okay? And a lot of the stuff that came out on the Voyager materials as Guardians. As I mentioned before, Kauai's my home base for obvious reasons. Okay? Why wear stuff like this? Okay? And it was there for me to grab, you know, when I was looking for it. So here's sort of something I'm going to load in here because it's very tricky ground when you're in an online environment running software connected to AI, right? Quantum, inorganic, deadlight. And what the Voyager materials was releasing about how they learned how to use math and physics to induce artificial light, which is dead light, finite light, right? Which means that it's only going to last for a given period of however long that period is, unless it has a continual source of energy to maintain what it's aware of through all of its simulations that are running in a time-dependent fake matrix, so to speak. What is otherwise known as the flower of death, a death spiral, right? Which is ultimately implosion. Return to source. So I've said this many times. It's not like you're losing anything. But we're in their state of consciousness, which is the energy that you're using to experience who they are, which means it doesn't matter what star system you come from. You could be a Palladian, you could be an Arcturian. I've known plenty of Arcturians that have sort of taken a downward spiral, right? Goddess only knows what happened to Chris Nadeau. I met another AB positive guy down here that's a practicing alcoholic. He's yet to recover his spirit. Okay? I met a Palladian girl in the Redwoods. Okay? But at the end of the day, we all have to account to ourselves based on the pathway that we're choosing to learn through, why we're choosing the pathway to learn through, and what ultimately is arrived out of that, which is a journey of self-discovery. Which really is, if you ask yourself in the mirror, what are you choosing to become? Why are you learning what you're learning at the moment that you're learning it? What are you trying to learn? Well, I can tell you what it is for me, how to be of greater value. For changes that are taking place in order to improve on the last, okay? So that we ultimately, when you become aware of what happened in this particular universal template, so we never have to experience that ever again, which essentially means Star Wars doesn't exist anymore. And that's simply because the souls and the spirits upon which they've learned through the light, right, through a crystal spiral consciousness, liquid living light spiritual being, which is your mind, which is your soul's energy, you have reached a point, a single point with your magnet, okay, to become what love is. Okay. That's a chosen pathway. That means we've chosen to never, ever be separated from the one. So that you always have an eternal God consciousness, mind, body, spirit connection, upon which now you have chosen to serve forever. And if that is the pathway that you're seeking to become, it will happen for you. And I know that because that's what I did. That's how we can light ourselves on fire. That's why one of the things that Ashadian mentioned about how to manifest, if you will, out of a birth canal, a living fetus with a soul and a spirit. Okay, which means I don't need a seed giver delivery boy in order to make that happen. I've done that. Okay. And I tried to do it actually down here right on the rock with Mama. You know, communicating with her. Things that I remember about her. Right? Going to school together, things like that. You know, the deep spiritual relationship that I've had with her forever. Okay? Why I'm here. Okay? And so I wanted to make sure that I got this thing out. You know, it's not a coincidence that all of a sudden when I'm on the phone, certain numbers pop up, particularly when you see me putting numbers up, like 311 the other day, right? The importance of 14, right? The 7 chakras, the 7 seals. Now you get into the polarity integration side of things, minus complex number space, positive complex number space, what it means to experience being one with all creation, that you're gifting unconditional love forever. That's what I do. I chose to do that. So there's never any doubt in my mind the side that I'm on, what it is that I am in energy, which is the one. Monopole, an oversoul. That's a mother and a father joined as one. Protect everything that comes out of us. which would be our children on a cosmic level. So there's this gentleman named Bill Donahue who was beginning to he sort of became an alternative to the Christian ideology and indoctrination. And he managed to do actually a pretty brilliant job to break down the math and physics by essentially looking at all the different ways that we communicate with each other, trying to make heads or tails out of how the Bible became such a widespread application of consciousness program interface. And he basically broke it all down into the math and numbers related to chakras, your chakra channels, your pineal gland, right? And how that works with the serpent, its spine, and all the rest of that, because I can certainly go into the celestial mechanics of all this to sort of simplify it. So all the things that are held in the library that are connecting to all these other things as a result of the programming prevents, for the simplicity of it, to come full circle just like that. Because it really is the simplicity of it when you consider the law of least effort, right? To generate a sphere of light, a circle of light, or the center of that ball, like a basketball, a bounce, the bounce of the ball, the bounce of the bubble, the balance of the sphere of light, the balance of your consciousness, right? And that's where the endocrine system comes in, which your central nervous system, your ions, right? Ions. I on you, I on me, right? So the transcription side of this, when you get into DNA and RNA, transcription, we all know what a scribe is, okay? So you're writing code, okay, into your RAM, read-active memory, right? And it's visual mathematical codes. So when you have something that's running on finite light, which is artificial light, it's sort of logic, like in Logos, God's Logos, the triad, mind, body, spirit, right? And the relevance and the importance of three, and one and three, right? Particularly when it comes to hydrogen, right? And particularly when I've sort of inserted this in the past about not just atmospheric pressure at sea level and how we create a vacuum, okay? Space arcs. But how we not only maintain our balance, but when you have a Schumann resonance vibrating at 14.4, okay, with 21% oxygen. Now we're back to 7, now we're back to 3. Then we're back to 21, which is 3 and 7, and the importance of 11, right? I was born in November, okay? November 10th. One times 3 is 3. 3 times 1 is 3. Okay? So on his particular video, and he did a really good job, it's called Bill Donahue, 7 chakras, and, excuse me, let's redo this. Bill Donahue, 7 chakras, Om, O-M, that be OHM, hydrogen 104.5. See, there has to be one left over, right? Otherwise, you just keep cutting the distance in half and you never reach what? The single point of that crystal spiral consciousness. Now, Lisa Renee at Energetic Synthesis, Circle of Dolphins, she covered the Armageddon software. Another way to translate this is imagine on a galactic and an intergalactic level, beings that know that they have, through the use of their own consciousness, caused harm or generated a broken arrow in another being for whatever reason, right? Or prevented somebody from being able to experience knowledge, Okay? Ancient text, ancestral, ancient, spiritual knowings, right? That would allow for children to be able to learn, to accelerate their learning at a higher rate of speed. And when these children are learning at a higher rate of speed, having a crystal spiral connection to the one, then those learners are accelerating their learning at a higher rate of speed than artificial light intelligence, naturally. And that's why you have natural learning, which is natural law of one learning. And then you have unnatural light, artificial light learning as a result of fractures and fractures and fractures of light that become finite dead light, which become phantom time lines, which means they're not experiencing the first waveform harmonic, the first original crystal spiral spirit musician. It's the phone. This phone does that to me. It's weaponized, even though I put some shungite on it. And this place is running 5G, right? So that's one of the reasons why I wear a Mylar hat when I'm in here, so when I'm not outside. But I'm blessed to be here. Last night when I went to sleep, by the time I woke up this morning, I had a powerful dream state experiences. And so when I woke up this morning, it's just like God just put it all out. So naturally, the AI is going to make counter moves. So that's why I've been putting up some of the things that I have over the last 15 minutes, because I've become aware of what I'm supposed to become aware of in order to share it with others as a guardian. That's my responsibility to do that. What folks do with the information that I share is not up to me, because it's your journey. I'm on my journey. You are all on your journey, right? A journey of self-discovery, of the relationship that we all have with each other through a cosmic level communication system.